For this wonderful little workshop or webinar on attracting your ideal soulmate. I'm Laura Silva Quesada, and I will be your presenter for today. And I'm really thrilled that you are here. And as always, you can always ask me questions on your chat. So feel free to for this wonderful little workshop or webinar on attracting your ideal soulmate. Well, let me put that there. You can, I apologize for that, but you can always ask me questions on the chat and you'll be able to have an exchange with me along the way. We have about an hour for this, and there's a lot of content to cover. So I think we'll just jump right in and get into how to attract your soulmate or your ideal mate. Now, this particular approach can be applied to many, many other different um, areas to find a business partner, maybe someone to come and work for you, someone that you want to employ. I mean, you can utilize this approach to find a nanny or, maybe a special group of friends, whatever it may be. The idea is very simple. It incorporates a broadcasting technique that we use in the Silva Method, and it also incorporates a 10 to 1 countdown to attune yourself to whatever you want to attune yourself to. In this case, we're going to use 10 to 1 countdowns to attune ourselves to source energy, and we can talk about that some more, and to attune ourselves to our ideal mate as we broadcast to them a lot of our own personal information and kind of have a little get to meet you kind of a moment while you are in your meditations. I know it sounds kind of far-fetched, but I'm telling you, this has been applied by more people than I can tell you successfully. I have several very, very close friends that have utilized this approach and it has worked for them. Now, years ago, going back over 35 years back. I had been in relationships, of course, in my life, several. I'm in my 70s now. So, I had plenty of time to have plenty of good relationships and not so good relationships. And I had gone to the point that had already gone through a divorce, and I had two little girls and two young children, daughters of mine. And I really had worked really hard on getting my life in order as far as relationships were concerned because mine had failed. And I had really had a really tough, rough situation going through that whole breakup. And I felt very down on myself. I felt very kind of down on the idea of love, romance, finding the ideal person, and all that kind of stuff. And so I took some time just to kind of get off the dating scene, work on myself, do what was right, get healthy, and in all aspects. And we're going to talk about that as well. And it got to a point where I really felt that my life was in order. Everything was really ideal and wonderful. Money was good. My life was good. My health was good. My relationships with others, family members, friends, what have you, the people I hung around with, all of that had really worked on taking care of all those different things and facets of my life that would contribute pretty much to having a good or bad relationship. So I was in a good state. And I told my dad, I said, Dad, I've been making a list of people or qualities that I would find ideal in a person to get involved with and maybe program for that or something along those lines. Do you have any ideas? And he said to me, well, he quite asked me, he said, "You're making a what?" And I said, "A list." He goes, "Like, what are you talking about?" I said, "Well, I like men who are taller than me. I'm very short." And I said, "I do like men who are tall and, good frame, a nice, healthy frame, not too overweight, not too whatever. I kind of would like someone who is more like in my culture and in my background." And I went on to explain about all these different things that I wanted in a person. And he says, "You don't need to do that. You don't need to do any of that." And I asked, "How come?" And he said, "Because what you're going to do, the method I'm going to share with you, is appeal to our creator, to creative energy, source energy from where all things come and all people come from, basically, who has all information, who knows everything. So all you need to do is work on you becoming the best person you can be, the best partner, the best ideal soulmate for the love of your life, and it'll come to you." And I said, well, how do we do that? I mean, it just seemed like such an odd idea to me. And he said, basically, if you make a list or when you make a list of all the qualities you want in a person, because you might leave something out, and that little something might be a deal breaker if you really come down to think about it. So you don't want to leave anything out. You don't want to be over inclusive of things that may not be really all that important to begin with. So what you're going to do, basically, he said, is that you're going to first and foremost make sure that your life is in order. Because why, if anything, why in the world would you want to give a broken gift to the love of your life? So you're going to be working on you being the best you, on you being the ideal mate for somebody else. I thought that was very reasonable. And quite frankly, I had been working on a lot of those things already because I would look around at happy couples and always kind of question, why are they so happy? How did they get to the point of being that happy? And yet, I, with all the knowledge that I've known for so many years, being born to this really wonderful man who created the Silva Method, I still had a failing marriage. What's in there? What's underneath that whole outcome that was not a very pleasant one? And I was thinking about it, and I would think about it a lot, and I really put a lot of thought into this. And I realized that a lot of things had to do with me. Because all along I've always been teaching people about you being the creator of your own living experience. You are creating your life as you go, and to take full responsibility for your creation. So when I would say that, I would have to then go back and think, well, how did I create this outcome that led to a failed marriage or the wrong choice in a marriage partner? What is it that led me to go this and to make this choice? So I did a lot of backtracking, I did a lot of introspection. I really put a lot of thought into this, and I had already kind of concluded that I really needed to work on certain aspects about me because I was creating and attracting people or creating situations I didn't want and attracting people that weren't my ideal and my idea about having this wonderful lifelong relationship with a partner. So I realized that I needed to be that partner, of course, and radiate that energy, that attractive energy that would literally attract like-minded people to me. And quite frankly, that's what I was attracting in the past, like-minded people to me. And so that for me, having had this failed relationship, having been involved with a person that really I found was not a good match for me, also made me realize that I was attracting that kind of people into my life, which meant that I was that kind of person. I had issues I needed to work on. I had emotional issues, spiritual issues, I mean, I had physical situations I needed to work with. I had living situations I needed to work with at one point in time as well. Things like finances, relationships with my family members. I had health, a few, not really serious or major at the time, but I did have some health issues that I wanted to correct and work on. I wanted to be in good shape, and so I started doing a lot of exercising and getting my body into a very, very healthy state. So all of these things I started to work on because ultimately what it needed to be in my own way of thinking of me was that I needed to become the person that I admired, respect, appreciated, and loved. And if I wasn't that kind of person to me, then I wasn't going to be that kind of person to anybody in the same way I was hoping it to be. And I really worked on that. So my dad said, this is what you're going to do. He said, forget about your list. You don't even have to think about it. I mean, you already know generally what kind of works for you, what doesn't work for you. And you know what you do not want in a relationship or the kind of person you do not want. And that's good. And he said, but what you're going to do here, he said, is you're going to go into a meditation. And in your meditation, the initial number one, first meditation is that you're going to program yourself to awaken when source energy, higher intelligence, God, however you beliefs resonate with this concept, you're going to awaken when source energy or God is most receptive to listen to you. And I know it's a big ask. I know it's a big ask, but if you truly believe in the whole idea that all is possible and doable, then it's not so big after all. And so that's what I did. I programmed myself because I felt like I was truly ready. My life was great. Everything was wonderful. I was healthy. My finances were good. My relationships with other people were very good. I felt attractive. I felt everything was fine. And so I programmed myself to wake up first thing, first night. It's like a 30-day process. And I woke up when it was my time, my most receptive time to relay the message to higher intelligence or to God, if you will, and ask for help. So the first thing I did was I went into my meditation and I simply said to myself, I'm going to awaken at the time that is ideal for me to ask higher intelligence or God for assistance in finding my ideal mate or my soulmate. And I went to sleep from there. Sometime during the night, which means that you need to have a little bit of awareness come into the experience. Sometime during the night, you will awaken. And there's many, many times when you can awaken, but this is the time that is your moment to ask for help. This really is showing the powers that may be at large, the greater part of ourselves, however it is, we don't understand all the workings behind so much stuff that happens in the invisible world of the universe. Let's just believe that there is something there that we can attune to in that sense. And so when I did awaken, I needed to remind myself, sit up, don't go back to sleep. This is your moment. This is your time. This means a lot. You really are looking to attract the person that's going to have your back the rest of your life. That's going to be your partner in all the goodness that you're going to bring forth into the world. This is the person who's going to make you a better person because he's coming into your life or she's coming into your life, and you likewise for them. This is going to the person's going to bring happiness and joy and stability and just overwhelming pleasures and all these kind of wonderful things. So come on, sit up, let's get with it. And then go back into your meditation and ask God or higher intelligence, force energy to help you in this because they've got it. They source energy knows everything, everyone created everyone and everything in the whole universe, of course, knows ideally who's there for you. And quite frankly, a lot of women and men who I have come across, they'll approach us or say like, oh, like I really want to find the love of my life, but all the good ones are taken. Well, if you're going to come in with that belief, it's going to be true for you. So my whole point is you really need to get your beliefs in check because in a world of at least let's say 8 billion people, there's got to be a few thousand at least really ideal people for you. All we need is one, and we want the most ideal for our situation, but they're looking for you as you are looking for them. So just know that. And there's someone for everyone. I mean, think about it. You've seen couples roam, around you or when you're traveling and you see these couples, you go, how in the world did they find each other? But they do. There's a really wonderful saying in Spanish that says, Dios los hace y solitos se encuentran. In English, it translates to, God makes them and they find each other. And that's the way it is. You will find each other, and there's always someone who's looking for you as you are looking for them. Okay, so back to the story. So the first night I did this, I woke up and I said, oh, this is my moment. Go back into your level and program again to connect with higher intelligence so that you can really ask for assistance. So the first night is for you to initiate the process, to wake up and connect with higher intelligence or God to ask for assistance. Now, mind you, there's some work to be done before you get to this space, and we're going to get there. I'll just give you the process first. So when I did wake up, I sat up on my bed so I wouldn't go back to sleep because I was really excited about this. And I closed my eyes, I went into my meditation, and then at that point, I said, I'm going to count from 10 to 1. That's a countdown where that will help you to attune. So I'm going to count from 10 to 1. So I may attune specifically to higher intelligence or source energy, God, or whatever, however you want to say this. And then you count slowly 10, 9, 8. And as you count on that descending scale, experience yourself as if you maybe are connecting with higher intelligence or you're bringing it towards you. However you want to experience it will be okay. But it's attuning yourself to have that one-on-one connection or line of communication with higher intelligence or God. So by the time you reach the count of 1, just take it for granted that that's it. This is your moment to connect and ask for help. So by the time I said 1, I just felt okay. Here's my connection, and I said, "I'm here. My name, you don't mind, I'm Laura. I'm happy to be here." Whatever you want to say, basically, sounds kind of funny, but a little silly. But it handle it however you wish. The point is that that's your moment to connect. And then and ask. I'm looking for my soulmate. I'm hoping to attract my soulmate, the ideal person that I can really bring joy to, and likewise will bring joy to me. And I had two little girls. I had a 7 and a 6-year-old girls, and so I was a complete package. I didn't come alone, just myself. I had children, and children who I was hoping to have a very good father image to help, help me raise them as well. So it was a really important part of my life right there. And so I said, I just would like your assistance in attracting this person to me. I feel my life is in order, my finances, my health, my relationships. I feel very at peace with myself. I think all is good. I'm willing to do everything and anything to bring this love into my life, and I commit to loving this person wholeheartedly. Whatever you feel you need to say, and I'm asking for your help in this project. And I'm thanking you in advance. And you go to sleep from there. You don't have to bring yourself out of meditation to go back into the meditation when you're doing that. You're already in your meditation, closer to sleep anyway. You're already at alpha, nearing theta, especially at that time of the morning, and you're just going to drift right back into theta and then into delta and continue with your dream sleep cycles. That's good. Now give it a chance to set. My father used to always say, we're either transmitting or we're receiving. So when you're asking for help to God, higher intelligence, source energy, you are transmitting. So when you transmit, you need to let the information like go out there into the world at large, or to the universe, or to reach whatever powers are behind allowing all this to happen, or whatever energies be out there. Again, we don't know all the information, or we don't have all the details, but we know something happens. And so you project, you transmit your message, your request for help, let it settle for a little bit. And then on the third night, then you start your initial programming to your soulmate. So once you've done that, on day 3, go back into your meditation. Only this time, you say, I'm going to awaken when my ideal mate, my soulmate, is most receptive for programming. Go to sleep. When you awaken, remind yourself to get up, because sometimes we'll just like fluff our pillow, pull up the covers, get cozy again, go back to sleep. Don't do that. Make sure you have a level of awareness into your whole experience. Well, you'll remind yourself and say, I'll remind myself to awaken because this is my time to talk to my soulmate. This is the person that is going to be with me the rest of my life. How awesome is that? And so again, you sit up, get yourself, in not too relaxed, comfortable position, because you will go back to sleep if that happens. But you sit up and then you go back into your meditation, and you can do your 10 to 1 countdown again. Only this time you're going to count from 10 to 1 to attune to your soulmate. At the count of 1, just open up the scene in your mind and say, Hi, I'm Laura Silva. That's just what I do with my husband. I said, My name is Laura Silva, and I know we don't know each other. And he said, I don't think we do. And I'm really looking forward to meeting you. And so my dad always would say that he would recommend that you have some kind of a meeting place that you can both be at, that would make it easier to find each other. I always thought like I wasn't in a hurry. I didn't feel like I was like, oh, I have to get married now, or not. I didn't have those needs or feelings, and so I didn't set a time or a date to meet because my life was so good already. I felt great. My life was fine even without my soulmate, and I figured, if it happens, it's great. If not, you know, that's fine. But it would be wonderful because I have a lot of love to share for this person if when they come into my life. And so, but I was in a really good state. So I didn't put a time frame. But my dad would say, if you do have a time frame, give this person at least 30 days to find you because you don't know where they are. They may be in Timbuktu, for all you know, on the other side of the world, and you need to allow them the opportunity to find their way to you or you to them. And he said, if you have certain really specialized interests, maybe you like the opera, the theater, maybe you work on humanitarian projects with organizations or whatever it might be, you may want to then create a place to meet, an event, a fundraiser, or something, whatever. And if that seems to appeal to you, then you're going to do that, and then you make yourself easy to find. So, the first night I just woke up, I did my 10 to 1 countdown, I connected to my soulmate, and I just shared so much. I mean, I just shared all about my life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I became a really open book, totally transparent. I didn't want to have any secrets with my soulmate, the love of my life. I wanted everything to be out in the open, where I've been, what I've done, where I stand, where I stood, all kinds of stuff. So there was a lot to talk about. So after that first subjective meeting that we met through broadcasting approach or technique, after I was kind of done, I felt, okay, that's enough, well, I look forward to meeting you soon. I'm going to be at this place, if that's your plan, where you can meet, but we'll see you there maybe in about 30 days, something like that. You go to sleep, let the information get out there. Then on the third day, you do it again. Program yourself to awaken when your soulmate is most receptive, and then continue the conversation. Talk about things that you did during the day. Talk about things that maybe happened, interactions you had. I mean, just share everything about you, about your life, about your interests, about your hobbies, about your children, if you have them, about things that went well, things maybe that didn't go so well, how you've been able to, the journey of your life. I mean, just anything, everything. Don't hide anything because this is not a time to hide any part of you. And then you do that again. Every third night, you do that again and again and again. Now, if you do have a meeting point, you always make a reminder, hey, I'm looking forward to meeting you or seeing you at this particular time and what have you. And so you continue to do this for 30 days. By the way, we have a program that we will be offering you that will help guide you throughout the entire 30-day period. And so if you're interested, it's available for you as well. The thing too that we really, really want to work on is that to have really complete and full success with this is that you need to be at that same space that you feel very, really, really, very, very good about yourself. That everything in your life is wonderful, it's smooth, it's in order. It's important to do that. And if it's not there yet, take the time to do that. Take the time to get your finances in order, your health in order, just everything about your life, relationships, everything. Get them all in order. Everything has to be just right so that you are the person that you love, admire, respect, and appreciate. And that is exactly what you're going to attract towards your life. I remember many, many, many years back, we're going, even before I met my husband and before I started to program for this kind of a outcome. I had a friend who had gone through a very horrible divorce. And her husband left her for somebody else, and she was miserable, and she was like really so depressed in a very down and out place. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to ask her if she wants to go out with me and take her out in the town a little bit, take her out to dinner, go have a couple of drinks, something of that nature, just to lift her spirits and have a conversation with her. Maybe she needs to have a friend, a sounding board. So I asked her out. And she goes, okay, if you don't mind, I'll go pick you up. I said, sure, I'll be waiting for you. Now, I had just come out of work. It was kind of after work, going for like a happy hour and then dinner and then home, like an early night. And so I dress up for my work and I'm all dressed up and she comes to pick me up. I'm not judging her or anything like that, but she picked me up wearing some leggings, some clunky tennies, an oversized, she was a big girl, but an oversized tight-dyed t-shirt. And she was not even made up in any way, which I thought was odd because we were going out to have drinks first at a really nice restaurant and then dinner following after work. So I thought, well, okay, if that's her choice, that's fine. Well, we go first to have a couple of drinks before we go into the restaurant. And then she's moping and complaining and sad, and the world's terrible to her. She feels victimized and like all the things that I teach people not to be like. So, anyways, so I'm listening to her, and as we're having our conversation over a cocktail, there's like the business crowd of people come in and he goes, hey, Laura, I haven't seen you in a long time. You've been traveling a lot with work. I said, yeah. And they said, oh, it's so good to see you. Hey, let's get together and have dinner someday. I said, sure, that'd be great. Well, these were like young professionals at the time. They had suits on. They looked very dapper, handsome. They were, very put together nicely. And after a while, maybe another one would come up. Hi, Laura, I haven't seen you in a while. And how's it going? And hey, maybe we can get together sometime. I said, yeah, sure, that'd be great. Of course, I was single at the time, obviously. And so, but with every person that would come up and say hi to me, totally overlooking her, she looked more depressed and was just even moping more and more with every person that would come up to me to ask me out for maybe dinner or whatever, or make, nice little small conversation. And she says, golly, she said to me, everybody comes over and they just talk to you and nobody even looks at me. And I said to her, is that the kind of guy you want? And she said, well, yeah, it'd be nice to have a good looking guy who would dress us up nicely with a good job. And it would be really nice, if they're interested in me. And I said, at that point in time, I said, let me tell you a little story. It's a story that impacted me years and years, decades ago. And it's a little story, a little Zen Buddhist story about Nasrudin. Nasrudin was a character that was talked about in stories, way back thousands of years ago. But the story goes something like this. I don't remember it exactly. But Nasrudin was having coffee with a friend. And they were talking about life and love and things of that nature. And the friend asked Nasrudin, have you ever been in love? And he said, well, yes. He said, at one time, I've been in love several times, actually, he said. And at one time, I met a wonderful girl in Cairo. And she had these beautiful, beautiful, big, dark olive colored eyes. And her skin was beautiful. And she was the most beautiful person I had ever seen. But she was not kind. And so I let her go. Another time, he said, I fell in love. I was in Baghdad, he said. And it was another woman. She had lips that were ruby in color, and her skin was so beautiful. She had a kind, kind heart. But she was not available at the time. And then one day, he said, I found the perfect woman. She was beautiful. Her eyes were bright and lovely. Her lips were luscious and her skin was so pretty. She had a kind heart. She was very nice to everyone. She was very smart. And everything about it was just perfect. And the friend asked, well, what happened? He goes, unfortunately, she was looking for the perfect man. And when I told this woman that story, she kind of like, her eyes just kind of like opened wide. Her mouth kind of dropped. And she says, I get it. And I said, that's what you're looking for? That's who you have to be in order for that to happen for you. And sure enough, the weeks that passed, she started to get into more of taking care of herself. She got into a gym and she started to work out a little bit more because she wasn't working out at all. She was so depressed that she just didn't have it in her to go to the gym. But now, for whatever reason, this kind of story sunk in. So she thought, okay, I got to do something. And she did. She took a few months off of her, just kind of her life to really start working on herself. She got a little makeover. She got her hair cut because her hair was like all over the place. She she started to dress up a little nicer. She was working out. She started to work a little bit harder because she had her own personal business, and so she started to generate more income. I mean, one after another, little things just started to change in her life. But the more they start to change and got a little bit better every time, it just kind of opened the door for even more and better. And then she realized within a short period of time that she was really creating a better lifestyle, a better outcome by thinking differently, doing different things, working on herself, fixing herself up, losing or reducing weight. All these little things start to click together. And she started to feel even better about herself. And so one thing led to another. And eventually, I think about 6 months later, she met an accountant. Go figure. And they dated for a while, got married, and this goes almost 30 years ago. And she's done very well since then, and he's done very well as well. And they still seem to be a really happy couple. That's just one example. I mean, it's just one example of many. I have some really dear friends who have done that. And so the thing that we want to encourage in you is to fix anything that needs fixing. Anything that's outstanding that needs to be worked on, do that first. And I really encourage you to do that first before even attempting to do this approach to find your soulmate. Because you really want to get into this feeling, my life is good. I feel great about myself. I love my life. I love me. Everything is good. It can only get better. I want you to be in that mental state and stage in your life where now you open the door and say, come, let's make this wonderful life together. Let's make each other even better. And let's make wonderful things happen for those around us and the lives of those who we touch. Our family, friends, loved ones, whatever it might be. Because we become better people with each other. And so it's really important to get to that point. The other thing too is that when you come to be the person that you love, admire, respect, and appreciate, you're not needy. You don't have that neediness because and that needy energy is really a repellent more than it is something that attracts. When you're needy, I hope I find the love of my life so he can save me or she can save me or that way maybe they'll make me happy. No, you need to come into this already happy. You need to come into this already saved. You need to have saved yourself. You need to come into this already free to breathe because your finances are fine and your relationships are good. You don't have any battles with anyone. You just like you're in a flow. If life is good, you can get there in a short period of time if this is what you want. Now, the other thing I've noticed too in some cases, some kind of little tough situations, is that we want to override the whole love factor, the whole factor that you becoming the best you that you can be, that you admire, appreciate, respect, and love yourself. And we seem to override that because of other either cultural beliefs or other types of beliefs that, oh, I'm supposed to be married or I'm supposed to be in a relationship. Well, if that's your belief that you're getting into a relationship because you're supposed to at your age, or you're supposed to because your culture is asking for you to do that, or you have pressure from, people around you, whether they're friends or your parents, and they're pushing and pushing and pushing, so you're almost feel like I have to, I need to, then again, that's not the energy that you want to go into this relationship with. You want to go into this relationship for all the right reasons. You're not going to go into it to change the person because you're not going to succeed. You're not going to go into it because they're going to fix you, because they can't fix you. Only you can fix you. You're not going to go into the situation or relationship because they're going to take you out of financial burdens and problems, because that's not going to happen. It's only going to break the relationship even, or stop it before it even starts. So you're not going to go into the relationship when you're having like fights with loved ones, family members, or friends, because that's what you're doing with the people that are supposed to be your loved ones. Then you're going to do that with your soulmate, so-called soulmate. So you can't take that baggage in to initiate this kind of a desired outcome. You need to be in the right space. You need to be the perfect mate. And it doesn't take a lot of time. It just takes focused attention and doing. Your actions need to be geared towards this, in fixing your life up. Your beliefs need to open the doors of opportunity to allow wonderful love to enter your life. You can't go into a relationship thinking to yourself, no one's ever loved me. I'm unlovable. My parents rejected me. You can't go into it like that. You got to fix up the beliefs that you have about yourself being or unlovable or not worthy of love, of true, passionate, adoring love. Because if you don't walk into it with that, you're not going to get it. So that's why it's really important for you to work on you and become the person that you love, admire, respect, and appreciate. What about you do you not like? Is it your weight? Reduce it. What is it about your look, your style? Fix it. Is it your hair? Get a hairstyle. Is it your finances? Fix them up. If it's at a job, find a way to generate an extra income, because it's going to require all these great things in order for you to get the real great love of your life. But it's so doable. It just takes being aware of it and being focused and clear about what you want to bring into your living experience, so that you can have the most remarkable, love-filled living experience of your life that is there for a lifetime. Okay, so I hope I'm real clear about that. And the program that we're offering, that we'll be offering you, has that you're going to have some tasks to go by that will help you to become the ideal soulmate along the way. You're going to have meditations to help you along the way. You're going to do your programming to reach your soulmate, your ideal love every third day. It's going to take you through the whole process. And every day you will have you will take some step to becoming the person you love, admire, appreciate, and respect. And that way you can fulfill this outcome satisfactorily. So that's part of the whole deal here. Now, again, get rid of that neediness on your part, that you need to have someone to be happy. You don't. You really need to make yourself happy first. Find all the goodness in your own living experience, in your own being, in what you have. Live with gratitude. Find those things to be grateful for, because they're all around you, and get to the point that you feel really good about everything. And you go into it because you want to share your wonderful life with somebody else. Because you know that when you do come together and you attract this like-minded person, you will become a better person still, because two great energies come together is even better than just one. So let's kind of walk in and move into it with this kind of approach along the way. Now you're going to have a lot of support, to go through the process. In my case, when it came to meeting my husband, Mel, I really didn't have the need. So I wasn't pushing like, I got to meet this guy, or I got to, I didn't have that feeling at all. I just thought, oh, good. Let me put it out there and let it be known to the universe at large. I'm here. This is who I am. This is, how I am. This is how I think. This is how I believe. This are my behaviors. These are the people who are around me. These are my practices. This is what I enjoy doing. These are my hobbies. These are my likes. This is, how I love to live life, how I enjoy having fun, all those kinds of things. And when you're in that state, then it makes it so much easier to attract, again, like-minded people, and to announce it to the universe at large. So I didn't have a date to meet Mel. And so time passed. and I did my programming and I just let it go. And I just said, so be it. Once I got done with all my programming at the end of 30 days, I just stopped. Well, time did pass, maybe a few months passed, and all of a sudden we had this one person who was working with us in the Silva organization. He came in and a really nice guy. He trained to become an instructor. He was a Laredo born person, so he wanted to work in the office with us. He was a school teacher by profession, but he would come every chance he could to the civil organization, to the home headquarters, and he'd work with us there. He'd do some training. He would rehearse. I would guide him some ways or another. We would co-teach together. Anyway, so he was a really, really nice guy. His name was Enrique. And one day, we call him Kike. One day he said to me, do you know this person named Mel Quesada? And I said, no, I don't know him. And he goes, well, he'd like to meet you. And I said, he's like, that's really nice of you. I said, but no, I don't know who he is. I'm not really into blind dates, I said to him. And my life is so great. Everything is so wonderful. I'm not even really interested in getting to know anybody right now. But, it's really nice of you to think of me. He goes, no, I'm not thinking about you. He's thinking about you. He really wants to meet you. And I said, well, great. That's nice. But I mean, I'm okay right now. And I blew it off, not realizing it was connected to all my programming because I continued to live my life in a very happy way with my two little wonderful children and not really making the connection because a few months had already passed. Well, sure enough, every time Kike would come to the office, he goes, hey, my friend Mel really wants to meet you. And I said, well, yeah, that's nice. That's nice. I said, but I don't know who he is. Again, I'm not interested in blind dates and that's, my life is really great. I mean, but I really appreciate it. Thanks for thinking about me. Every time he came to the office, hey, my friend Mel wants to really know if he can talk to you, call you up. I said, and I got to a point, I said, Kike, come on, like that. I'm not interested. And he said, yeah, but he's really, really is a nice guy. And I asked him, well, what does he do? He goes, he's in trucking. So I thought he drives trucks, big 18 wheelers, what, and then he said, and I said, who is he anyway? He goes, oh, he's a nice guy. Is he from Laredo? Because you're talking about 35 years ago, Laredo. I mean, I was younger and I was born and raised here like this guy was. I knew all the guys in Laredo who were my age, basically, but I didn't know this guy. And I thought, that's so odd, Kiki. I mean, why don't I know this person? So, anyways, and he started to pique my interest very little, not much, I have to tell you the truth. But he was so insistent. And I said, well, what does he look like? And he said, well, he's got a nice smile. And anything else? He was just, well, he's a nice guy. I think you'll like him. That's all he would tell me. I would start then asking around. So now I started getting interested a little bit. And I would ask people around, do you know Mil Casada? And they said, no, I know Frank Casada and I know George Casada. And I said, but I don't know, they didn't know Mil Casada. And I thought, so odd. And anyways, I would ask more people and I said, do you know what do they look like? Well, they're kind of short, bald, and a little chubby. And I thought, interesting. I said, okay, well, I mean, he's got a nice smile, kind of thing. And so after a while, he continued saying, I really, really would like to meet you. And so weeks must have passed. And I said, fine, I'll talk to him. So he gets on the phone right away from my office phone, dials him up, and he goes, here. And I'm thinking, I'm like stuttering. So I'm like, and finally we talked and he said, hi, and I said, oh, hi, Melanie. He was Kika said that, we needed to talk. And he goes, yeah, he goes, but I can't right now. He said, he said, okay, if I call you later. And that was fine, of course. And so we made a date to talk on the phone. Well, we talked on the phone for about a month and I still hadn't seen him. I still didn't know who he was. I didn't know I have a picture of him, nothing. But it had turned out that he had been married too at some couple of years prior, had been divorced, and he had a 12-year-old son. I thought, well, that's nice. And he says, and probably one of the reasons you've never seen me is because I work all the time. He was always working, so he worked till very late hours. He had a transportation business, and so I got to know a lot of stuff about him, but I still had never met him. And then one day he said, hey, I'm in town now. I'm pretty free, and then you're in town because we both traveled a lot. He said, you want to go out to dinner? I thought, okay, let's go out to dinner. And we made a date to go out to dinner. And coincidentally, I had a couple of Silva instructors from Oklahoma. And they, if you're listening, you know who you are. And they come in to town and they needed to talk to me. So I had to cancel my date. So I called and I said, I'm sorry, I really apologize. I need to cancel. And I told him what happened. He goes, not a problem. Let's get together. How about next week at this time? I'll be here. I thought, okay. And part of me was relieved that I didn't have to have this date with a blind date with a person I'd just been on the phone with kind of thing, not knowing what to expect. Well, anyways, made another date. Well, that night, a friend of mine, one of my daughter's godmothers, shows up, happened to be in the neighborhood with a bottle of wine, goes, hey, I'm here. I came to see if you're open and free. You want to share a glass of wine? I said, I have a date, but I really don't want to go. I don't know who it is. I said, do you know Mil Quesada? And I even asked her. She goes, no, I don't know who he is. I said, let me call and cancel. And again, I called him up and I said, hi, Mel. I just want to tell you, I really apologize, but I can't make it tonight. And then he stayed real quiet, like a long pregnant pause. And then he says, well, he says, okay, that's fine. He goes, I guess it was nice talking to you, but I guess it just wasn't meant to be. And he says, have a good one. And hung up. And I thought like, my body, I had never, ever since, but not never before that, and never after that. My body trembled. It was the weirdest thing. I literally trembled inside, like an uncontrollable tremble for seemed to be no reason other than the fact something had just happened. I canceled and he was gonna not see me anymore. And I thought, what is going on? It was so weird. And I couldn't sleep that night. I was just tossing and turning. It just kind of like really just everything just it was so strange. And I thought I have to call him back in the morning. So I called him back in the morning and I said, I really apologize. This is my bad. And I told him what had happened, the whole thing. I said, but I do want to meet you. And I feel terribly about that. So how about I invite you out to dinner? And he says, when? And I said, well, how about so-and-so date? And he quiet goes, no, I can't. I thought, okay, touche. I said, well, you tell me when you'll be free. And he said, how about this date? It was on August of 23rd, 1992 at the time. And I said, okay, let's go ahead and meet then. And we did. And I have to say, it was magical. We were inseparable after that. And to this day, I don't think, we just have gotten closer and more connected and happier, and life has evolved and unfolded in most beautiful ways. His son and my little girls connected as if they were brother and sisters right from the get-go. His family and my family, all open arms. His ex-wife, I call her my ex-wife, she and I got along great. We get along great. And I mean, she loves my daughter. It was just, I couldn't have planned it. There's no way in the world I could have, in my wildest imagination, had even picked a person that was so perfect in every way. And to this day, he's just a remarkable human being. And when I share this story with people, and like I know they get encouraged to do the same, they follow through. And I always insist you need and must get your act together first. That was the one big thing that for me was a huge difference between any prior relationship I had ever had and the one I had with Mel was that I put extra special attention, awareness, and focus on becoming the person that I truly admired, loved, respected, appreciated, and really was happy with. And if there was anything about me that was less than admirable to my eyes, I worked on it. I did my best to become as transparent a person as possible, to be an open book, I exposed my heart, my pains and hardships and my secrets. I exposed, my fears. I confronted my fears and traumas in the past, growing up, childhood stuff that had happened. I healed through all those things. I and I really focused attention on that. So I was constantly working on it. Not so like overtly in the whole thing, but I was constantly had it in my mind and constantly working and being very present in the now, in my own body and my emotions, my feelings, my thoughts, everything, my beliefs especially, and really working on why did this cause me to get stirred up? Why is this causing me stress? Why am I feeling a little bit rejected with these people? Why am I trying to run away from that? Why am I afraid here? Everything I question, everything, so that I could literally be able to confront it, heal it, overcome it, rise above it, and little by little become that person that I really, really was happy with. And sure enough, when Kike came into our lives, who we ended up calling Cupid, we never called him Kike after that. We called him Cupid. And every time Cupid came, I would run into with to Kike, our little Cupid. It was always a happy reminder, and he was always so thrilled. And every time he said, "How's Mel doing?" He had a big smile on his face, and I said, "We're doing great." He says, "You guys going to get married?" And I said, "Really?" I said, "That's a big thing to say." Because you are, you're already there. Everybody was so convinced because we're just so perfectly matched together in so many ways, in every way. And it was just really wonderful. But that was key. I always tell people, become the person you love, admire, respect, and appreciate, to find and attract, not even find, you will attract that love of your life. And it's important to have that love. Not Don't do it because of old structured beliefs, or because of cultural beliefs, or because of peer pressure or family pressure. This is your life. You've got to do it by your rules, because you're the one who's going to have this living experience. And you can make it as wonderful as you want. And it can be not so wonderful depending on living somebody else's lives by their beliefs, by their expectations, by what they want you to be or whatever. You can't go into it like this. You've got to go in as connected to who you are as a person, and that means it takes time for you to get to know yourself, what you like, what you don't like, what makes you move, what you're passionate about, what you love about yourself, what you don't, make fix things up, ask questions about you, life, this, that, everything. And there's a way of going about it. It will help you along the way. If you want to go through the program, the 30-day program, and it'll at least keep you going in the right direction. If you ever do set the date to get to meet this person at a certain given time, then make it easy for them to recognize you. Say, hey, the time's coming up. I'm going to be at this fundraiser. I hope to see you there. I'll be wearing the outfit with the big red flower or the big heart, something that will make you stand out, that the love of your life, your soulmate, will pick up in your subjective conversations. This is involving subjective communication, broadcasting, and countdowns to attune to that level or depth or person in this case, higher intelligence initially, and then the person in this case. So there's several things woven into this along the way, several tools that we use in Silva that have to do with subjective communication, broadcasting, and attunement. But you'll get it. You're going to get it done, and we'll guide you along the way. And even if you don't take the program, I've shared with you so much content and information that when you follow this and you work on you first, and become the person that I keep repeating, that you love, admire, respect, and appreciate, you will attract the love of your life. You will find that person, they will find you, and you will be so much happier together. Perfectly in time for Valentine's. What do you think all the red's about? And the big heart over there. So yeah, we're here to help you along the way. I know that we have maybe some comments. We have a lot of people who joined in. Not sure we have a lot of comments here, but if you have any questions, make sure that you know that you ask, because I'm right here. Yes, one of the members is asking, thanks, Laura. Can we do this for an ideal job too? Yes, you can do it for an ideal job. You can do it for an ideal business partner, an employer. I mean, whatever it is. I even would look for it because I travel so much. I was looking for the ideal nanny. And she's been working with us now for 35 years. She's not even a nanny anymore. My kids are 40. And my children are now 40 in their 40s. And she still stayed on working for us because we loved her so much and we became family. And to this date, her name is Martina. To this date, she is one of our family members and she stayed on here. Now she helps around the house. She's my house manager. She handles, we had this huge Super Bowl party on Sunday. She managed the whole thing, helped all kinds of stuff. I mean, incredible. So I did that even to find the perfect nanny who has now led on and stayed with us all these years. So yes, you can do it to find an ideal job, ideal, best friend group. You can do it to find employer, employee, nannies, what have you. And says, thank you, Laura, for this amazing piece of information. I'll be using this soon. And then we can feel your loving energy. Yes, because I want you guys to succeed. Everybody deserves to have it all. And love is one of those things that you deserve to have it all. Health, wealth, abundance of all kinds, time, happiness, joy, but everything all together is love. Now, mind you, when we say health, we're talking about being healthy in spirit, mind, body, and emotions, not just physically. You need to be, yes, physically healthy, and you need to be mentally and intellectually set and feel that you're very healthy mentally, intellectually. You can have the ability to solve problems, to rise above situations. That you know that you have the tools to work with. You apply your tools. You improve on your life. All that involves the intellect. That you're also healthy spiritually. That you have this sense of knowing you're part of a bigger one. That you have your own gifts and talents to share with the world, and that the world needs you here. And spiritually, you share your gratitude, your appreciation to the powers that may be, even if it's just source energy, not just, but source energy, creator, however it might be, and be always, in a mode of helping others, extending your hand, being there, because success never happens alone. It always happens in relationship to other people. But that helps you grow spiritually as well as you help others to improve along the way as you are, and will continue to do so. And then, of course, emotionally, you got to get those emotions in check. You got to make sure that you are the adult you who knows that you have all the resources to handle all kinds of situations, challenges, whatever comes your way. You have wisdom, you have experience, you have knowledge, you have some silver tools. Many of you do, if not all of you, have silver tools to apply, and that you can handle this. You got this. You got this. You have resources always available to you. Things that you're going to be making sure that you're always checking on is your thinking. Your thinking has to be positive, and have the expectation and the knowing that you are going to attract your ideal mate. Your beliefs need to be that yes, you're worthy of love. Yes, your partner and ideal soulmate is looking for you. Yes, you will find them. And yes, you will be happy. And your behaviors, you need to make sure that your behaviors are going to be supporting you every step of the way congruently. You can't say one thing and do something different. You need to be really clear about what you think, believe, behave, and you need to make sure that you're always working towards becoming a better you, because he or she is looking for you and want to find you. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, we can forget. I am ever grateful to you and your family. I like the I am capitalized. I'm definitely going to listen to this tonight. Thank you, Miss Laura. You're welcome. Thank you for sharing such a positive, empowering message, especially right now. It's going to have love in the air and all these wonderful things going around. It's a perfect time to start. It's the beginning of the year. Hopefully, by this time next year, you'll be sharing pictures, and we would love to get some pictures, by the way. The little testimonials of how you found the love of your life and that you are the happiest you've ever been. And you know that that love is going to grow and grow and grow for a lifetime. Say, God bless you guys. Have a wonderful experience finding the love and attracting the love of your life. Become, first and foremost, the ideal partner, and you will attract your soulmate, the love of your life, who will always have your back, who will be there for you, who you and each other, for each other, will grow and become even better and better every day and in every way. Good luck.